Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. I have decided at long last to start filming some videos and posting them on YouTube about my process and methods for making instruments. Now I'm new to this. I've only built one instrument. It was a 6-string bass that I built for my nephew and gave to him, and also had the pleasure of seeing him play at one of his jazz gigs over the holidays, which was really cool to see someone playing your instrument and playing it to good effect. Anyways, so I've been working on gathering up some wood in my garage and fashioning it into work pieces because I have a few projects in the pipeline, some bases that I'd like to build. So what I've been doing is going through my wood pile and selecting wood and milling it to glue it up into neck blanks. One of which I have here. This is a blank that I made like last week. You can see it's a 5-piece laminated neck. It's got maple on the outsides and a center strip of maple. It has Jatoba as sort of as skunk stripes running down the length. And I got this lumber kind of a combination online and locally. My local supplier doesn't always have the kind of hard rock maple that I'm looking for. So often I buy it online, and I typically buy it from Bell Forest Products, which is a really great online retailer that I believe is in Michigan. So they're like right up in the heart of hard maple country. But other stuff like Jatoba, certainly swamp ash, other kinds of wood I do buy locally because it has the advantage of already being acclimated to the Southern Nevada climate where I live. And that means that if it's going to do any warping, it will have already done it. So the piece that you buy in the store, you kind of know what you're in for. As opposed to sometimes when you buy from online sellers that are in different climates like the Pacific Northwest, you get a beautiful piece of wood, but instantly upon unboxing it, you see the moisture like getting sucked out of it, and it will start to warp, cup, twist, the whole thing, which can be very disappointing when you've spent a lot of money on, say, like a beautifully figured top or something like that, and then have to somehow bang it back into shape. So anyways, that's what I've been up to. I'm gluing up some wood blanks, and I'm going to show you a video and narrate it. Now, of course, this video is going to be run at double speed because it's a kind of a simple process and you're going to get the hang of it pretty quickly. And it can be tedious to watch the whole thing. But anyway, so now I'm just using regular Titebond here. I've set up the wood and sequenced it. I've been very kind of mindful of grain orientation and things like that and picked how I want it to look. And so then I will usually mark them, I'll number them. I have to pay attention to which face I'm gluing and which face, I need to replicate the pieces I've set it up and prepped it. So now I'm putting on the first Purple Heart strip. So this is going to be basically maple, Purple Heart, a maple center strip, another Purple Heart, and then a final maple outer strip. So it's a 5-piece laminate. A couple things to notice. First of all, I'm just using nitrile gloves and spreading the glue with my fingers. Like I've tried using a credit card, using a glue brush, and for some reason, just doing it this way gets me kind of like the best result. I get the best coverage. I get edge-to-edge coverage, which I found is important because when I've not achieved that, you can sort of see it in the seam. So that's why I'm kind of using this technique now. It's the second time I've done it. It worked pretty well for the neck blank I showed you earlier in the video. Okay, so now I'm on to the center maple stripe. You'll notice that I'm doing this, the primary clamping mechanism I'm using is a 4-way clamp. And so-called because it applies pressure at 4 different points in 4 different directions, both side to side and top to bottom. So I found that like these are kind of indispensable for getting a glued up workpiece that has a flat kind of reference surface, and that's going to be the bottom surface. So as you can see, like I've got all the center pieces glued to the first outer piece, and now I'm going to glue up kind of the last outer piece and then start kind of rigging up all the clamping mechanism, which can be a complicated process. And if you decide to get one of these and use it, I always recommend practicing with it. Like before what you're seeing here, I put all of the wood into the clamp, clamped it up, and just did a practice run So, you know, I knew what I was going to be doing when the real thing was going to happen, when I was going to start putting glue to wood. So now I've got this last piece kind of ready to go, and now comes kind of the challenging part. Now I have to kind of orient this piece that's just glued together, and those of you who have done this know that, like, when you glue a piece or pieces of wood together, they move around, they're kind of sloshing around in glue, they come out of alignment, so you have to spend a lot of time while your glue is quickly drying, fiddling with it and getting everything into alignment. Once I've kind of done a preliminary alignment, then I start kind of assembling the remaining clamp pieces. So this is the top of the clamp. You'll notice that I put in 2 spacers on the outer wings of the neck. And the reason for that is that those 2 pieces are absolutely dimensioned exactly alike. So they're kind of my reference. They're the things that I want the 4-way clamp operating on. Now, if I weren't using those spacers and just kind of spread it over the top, it would be hitting an uneven surface because the pieces in the middle may protrude above the surface of the outer pieces, or they may be below it, what have you. What I want to happen is I want those 2 outer pieces to be dead level. They're my reference surface. And so then what you see me doing now is I'm pressing kind of the middle pieces down as close to the kind of bottom reference edge as I can. They may not be perfect, but that's fine, because once this thing is dried and I've scraped all the glue off it, I'm going to run it through the planer. And that is also the reason I really need a reliable reference edge on the bottom. I've got about maybe hopefully 3 or 4 centimeters to work with in terms of planing off excess. I need this piece to be about 41 millimeters final thickness. It's probably now at about maybe 44 or 45. So again, I've got some breathing room, but I don't want to push it. I want to get it as close as I can possibly get it while it's in the clamps, without having to worry about maybe running shy or not having enough margin later when I go to put this thing on the CNC machine and carve it. So as you can see now, the next step is to just basically grab every other remaining clamp I have in the garage and clamp this thing at every available point to just make sure I have as much clamping pressure on it as possible. And I'm doing this, of course, because I want those beautiful, invisible seams where like one piece of wood transitions into the other without any gap or any like noticeable glue line. So I always err on the side of caution and just clamp the thing as much as I can, get it as tight as I can, because I know that in the end that's going to definitely sort of help with the final product. So now I probably just run around and I'm grabbing whatever remaining smaller clamps, less powerful clamps that I have, and I'm just going to stick them on there too. Like I said, I'm going for sort of the maximum clamping pressure that I can achieve. I know it's probably overkill, but I like to be on the safe side, because I have done this a couple times where the result was less than ideal. Sometimes you look out and say the seam is a little bit gappy, but it's in the bottom side of the neck heel, someplace no one's ever going to see, so you can proceed. Other times, maybe it's underneath where the fretboard's going to be glued, so same things, no one's going to see it. But occasionally you get like a little gap on the visible back of the neck, and it's aesthetically displeasing. So these are the kinds of things you want to avoid when you're gluing up a neck using this technique that I'm using here. So that's pretty much it. The next step, of course, is going to be to let it dry. At some point, I'll probably get rid of some of the squeeze out, just scrape it off once it's dried somewhat. But then once this thing is done, out of the clamps it comes and into the planer it goes. So next time, maybe I will show you some of that process or a part of the process further down the line. Take care, everyone.